Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Between Realities. How the hell are you? Welcome. We are so excited to have you with us today. My name is Alex. I am joined here by my co-host, Skiva. Skiva, how you doing, dude?
I'm great, man. I'm great. How are you?
Good. We're getting further and further away now. You know, now that we've got like the two mics set up, like we were so close together, you know, huddled around a single microphone, and now we're slowly
I know
drifting away.
I know, man. I feel so far away from you right now.
Only physically, buddy.
Yeah.
You know, this cannot be broken.
Yep.
Well, hello to everyone who is here in the chat with us. Lissa VR first in chat. That's like typical, right? I mean, Lissa's always here first. So what's up, girl? Good to see you. Glitch Fandango in the house. How's it going, dude? Mateo311 just did an awesome B-Haptics review video today. Super comprehensive. It was really, really good. Thank you for that, dude, and thank you for being here. We've got Jansen Fox in the house. How's it going, man? Jansen Fox.
Jansen, what's up, buddy?
Jansen has been present lately, and I'm here for it. Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. Dude, anyone out there, if you haven't seen Jansen Fox's streams of like Population 1, oh my god, this guy had me crying. I was laughing so hard, man.
Really?
I was laughing. It is funny. He does like each one he does in like a different costume, and he is just so funny.
Go subscribe to Jansen Fox.
Do
and
it.
Subscribe to our channel too if you haven't yet.
Yeah, please sub.
Lipnox VR is here as well. How's it going, Lipnox? Lipnox has also been around quite a bit lately,
What's
as
up,
well
buddy?
as Croy VR. Croy, it's good to see you. I think I'm glad you're here for today's episode because I know you are like zero Facebook, never happening. Robyn's here. How's it going, my lady? Robyn. We got Sampler 19. Daniel German Rifter is here. German Rifter is our fucking homie. Good to see you,
dude.
man. Onikaze in the house. Paradise Decay in the house. Fucking stream curator extraordinaire. Obscure Nerd VR, who was a guest on the show pretty recently, which was awesome. And we really want to play more Pop 1 with Obscure Nerds.
Oh,
so
dude.
we'll have to make that happen.
Good dude, man. Really enjoy hanging out with him.
So today's guest is, if you read the description or any of my posts today, you know, we often talk about Facebook and how, you know, they do shit that sucks, right? Like, we're not huge fans of them, but we are huge fans of virtual reality, and it can be really hard to separate the two. But there are a few dudes out there who are standing up against it, right? And one of them is our guest today, who has basically pivoted entirely from being a part of the Oculus ecosystem to now working exclusively with HP Reverb G2 and Pico Neo, and we're really excited to get his perspective on the VR industry. He is the operator of VR Essentials on YouTube, which is an awesome VR channel that is approaching 7,000 subs, soon to be 10K. Please welcome to Between Realities, Mr. Lazius Kaye. Yo, dude.
Hey, guys. Hello.
Thank you so much for being here, man. How the hell are you doing?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me. I really appreciate it. Very humble, considering the amount of other guests that you guys have been, had on the show and the amount of shows you've done as well. So great job on that. And also, just want to give a quick shout out to my family who might be watching, my brother, sister, dad, mom.
What's up, K family?
What's up?
and also all those in the chat, because some of the names are very familiar to me, even though we may not have, met in real life. It's nice to, in fact, we'll talk about that in a second, but it's nice to tweet, use Twitter and stuff. So hi to everyone in the chat as well. Nice to see you as well there.
It's so good. We also have Real Quick Smash Reality and VR Central.
What's up?
In the chat as well. Oh, Paradise Decay, thanks for the mod duties. You'll wield the ban hammer with pride. Please do. Actually, you don't really need to ban anything. And I'll go ahead and say this right now for our mods. There has been a few comments that I've noticed we have a mod that they didn't let it go through because it had a bad word in it. If it's not hateful, let it through.
Yeah.
All right. You all know that anything goes on our show. So let's make sure that as a mod, if you're a mod on this show, let the stuff slide through unless it's being mean, right? Or hateful or something like that. But
no mean stuff.
The quest is as big as my dick or something, whatever,
Yeah.
Put it through. Chris9989 is here as well, man. Thanks for being here. Oh, Rendered Reality sliding in.
Oh yeah, what's up?
What's up, Sean? Good to see you, man.
Man, I got to play with Sean in Population 1 yesterday. It was a good time.
Nice.
Yeah.
I assume you won then, right?
I think we got 1 or 2 wins, and then it just kind of went downhill. But it was super fun.
So Lazius is joining us from Singapore. You live in Singapore, right? And that is the other side of the planet.
I have my energy bar because it's 3 o'clock in the morning here.
dude.
So if I start falling, sorry, I won't. But if I do, I have my energy bar.
Mad props to you for showing up for the live show. Ski even gave him an out, and he was like, no.
Yeah, I said we could record it, but he's like, 3 a.m. No big deal.
It's Friday night. It's Friday night. Come on, we're still young.
I love it. So is the Kaye family also up at 3 a.m. watching, or do they live somewhere where it makes a little bit more sense?
No, they live in Europe, so it makes much more sense.
Makes much more sense. Well, that's good. Yes. Well, dude, thank you so much for staying up late and partying into the night with us, man.
No worries. But I think for Population 1, on there, I mean, I have days where I get killed literally 100 times.
Yeah.
And then days where you're at it and you're just killing everyone else, right? Is it the same with you guys when you're playing that?
Absolutely, man. Sometimes, you know, and it depends on the time of the day when I play too, right? I feel like the earlier I play, the more maybe little kids are just on and, you know, just wasting them all day long. But then as it gets closer and closer to like when people are getting home from work in the States, at least, you know, I feel like my KD goes down a bit and I start losing a little bit more. But or maybe I'm just getting more tired. I don't know. Who knows? It's a good time though.
I mean, there's just a lot of players these days. Mr. Trinidad, probably one of them.
Oh, I was playing with Mr. Trinidad too, like 2 days ago.
Yeah, good to see. He's been stepping it up, man. He he had the VR Bros guys like help him with his like animations and stuff. And like,
nice.
I think he's getting ready to make a push. So we're gonna be following Mr. Trinidad.
I was in there with all my haptics on, and somehow I let out in the lobby that I was wearing, you know, my vest and everything, and then everyone came over and everyone was touching me. And if you don't know, people in the lobby, when they touch you in that game, you can feel it, which is wild. It's really cool. Like you bump into someone, you're like, oh, excuse me.
Yeah, that is amazing. So
you wanted to know, what was your first question?
What was my first question? I don't think I've asked one yet.
No, if your family was watching, I think was the only one.
Oh, is that the question? All right.
Well, we really admire your commitment to being on the Between Realities podcast in its true live form. You know, 3 a.m. is I wouldn't be doing that, bro. That's hard. I go to bed at like 9.
Who can say no to the both of you? Seriously, I mean, you have so much charm and
this guy,
charisma, you know.
Man, you're too cool, dude. Which, by the way, like when there was a time when Lazius and I were communicating via direct messages, and you know, we were just like going back and forth, and I was like, "Oh, hello, sir. How you doing?" And like he was like, "Yo, man, sir, that's way too formal. Like, listen, we're buddies. Like, we're friends. You know, like you got to use dude or something, man. Come on." And I was like, "All right, you know, I feel you there." Like, even though for the record, Lazius, I use sir as a term of endearment with all people.
Oh, you said
yeah, and I did say that. Okay, that's good. But yeah, man, we're not formal acquaintances. We are true homies, and that's why this just feels like second nature having you on, man. I'm loving it.
And I totally. So how you guys met, by the way? Because I watched a whole bunch of your videos over the last few weeks and months, and I thought it was very interesting how you guys met up in the meetup and how you got everything together for your show and stuff. So,
yeah, it was kind of funny, man. I was so excited, and for anyone who hasn't heard this story, I started a subreddit called VR and Easy, and put together a meetup where we were all going to get together and play some arcade based virtual reality stuff, and Alex was the only one to show up besides my personal friends. So and then Alex is like, hey, we are the biggest VR fans in Arizona, otherwise they would be here.
There it is.
So here we are. The rest is history.
And nice mics. I saw your new setup. Those are really nice mics. They're like
so nice.
The best mics you can have for a podcast. You do realize that, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we know.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're the one Joe Rogan's use. So we figure if it's good enough for Joe Rogan, it's good enough for us.
Yeah, dude. Well, and I mean, we struggled with our microphone setup here. Like when we first started doing it, we had the single mic, and then we're like, okay, this isn't working. Let's both have a mic. So we both got the Yetis, and then having two Yetis next to each other in a small space. Cannot do what we're doing right here. Like his mic was picking up my voice and vice versa, and like we listened to the recording and it's just like utter dog shit. And then we went back to the single mic and we were having issues with that, and we just realized we needed to bite the bullet. So here we are.
We opened the purse strings a little bit, and
we did. We did.
well worth it for those mics. Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally, 100%. And dude, by the way, you are like ultra professional, man. Like the quality of your equipment, the quality of your content is like some of the best that I have seen in our community. Like straight up, dude. Like your editing skills are like insane. Like what did you like? How did you fucking go to school or something for that? Like why are you so good?
Well, I mean, I think there's always room for improvement. Like, for example, this mic that I have, not sponsored. I won't show the brand. Don't dare show the brand, or it will be pixelated. You know, YouTube will take down the video because I showed the brand anyway. This mic is not the best. It's actually super cheap. But what was really cool is I got, when I started the whole YouTube thing, I got onto the whole Amazon affiliate thing. And then I accumulated money because when people click on the links, they go and buy, pencils or whatever, stuff that's not inside of your links. But because they clicked on it, whatever they buy next will then, you get a little kickback, like maybe 2% or something like that. And over 6 months, this had literally died just because I was dropping it all the time and not being very responsible. And then I managed to buy a new one. And I was just so amazed that, the amount of people from the community had actually gone and clicked on all the links. Because to me, it wasn't my money. To me, it was actually the money from the subscribers. And then the kickback would come back to us. So I was really thankful. And I bought the exact same one because it's cheap and cheerful. So I think in terms of equipment, especially for the audio, I really have a lot of room to grow in terms of the perfect mic I'd like to get. But, things... budgets, can't just be there. So just make do with what you have. I think that's the best, advice when starting YouTube, basically. When I started YouTube, in fact, I didn't even have any equipment. I started with a iPhone SE for a whole year. That's all I had, literally. And I had a mic that I just put on it was a Rhodes, whatever it was, $30 mic that you just put on your phone. And I would edit on the phone as well, not on the computer. So that's how I got to start editing, because when I was doing previous startups, I didn't have money to hire an editor. So I did all the promotional stuff myself. And this was back in 2010, so 2008. So that was quite a while ago. And then when I had another startup, I did everything myself again until we could actually have the funds to start, hiring freelancers and stuff. So that's really how I started, editing and, filming and that kind of stuff. And then just learning from other people, I think, as well. I watch a lot of Make Art Now. Is an amazing channel. You guys should definitely go and check out Make Art Now. This guy is just amazing. Peter McKinnon, amazing YouTuber as well. I watch a lot of movies, Tarantino movies, whatever, Michael Bay movies, whatever, all these big directors. You learn a lot from binge watching Netflix. you actually learn a lot, right? Because you're taking notes. Oh, that's a nice shot. Maybe I can recreate that.
Well, we're not all doing that. You learn a lot watching Netflix. I probably get dumber sitting there binging Netflix.
Well, I wasn't going to say it, but
nice.
I was trying to be polite. No, but
that's good. It's good.
But you do learn a lot from, or it's like Tarantino. He spent so many hours in, where was he working? Blockbuster. That's how he learned his craft, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Was he working at Blockbuster?
He was working there for years.
Got his directing chops working at Blockbuster?
Yeah, for years. He got all his ideas from Blockbuster.
What? Okay, I'm just gonna take everything you say at face value at this point. I don't know if you're.
It is really true. You can go do him. Hey, Tarantino, can you confirm this?
Yeah. Good old Quentin. It's our homie.
Yeah. Q, as I call him.
I guess that's how I learned. I didn't go to school. I learned just by doing, I guess. I still have so much to go. I'd love to get to the level where, I'm very lucky that brands hired me to produce content for them before I had the channel and also during. So I just believe, I think it's a personal creative thing. Like, I personally have I don't know. It's just a need to have to keep like doing videos every day. I don't learn anything from it. Honestly, I don't.
Mhm.
Um, I was talking with Rick, who has actually a Facebook group, Oculus group on Facebook, and he, um, man, I lost my train of thought. So sorry.
That happens to me all the time, man.
It happens when you stay up till 3:30 a.m. and try to have a conversation with
Right.
people on the other side of the
Yeah.
planet.
Oh, this is what it was. We were talking about how we just get the basics right first. Like once you get the basic, once you know how to cut, jump cut, just the basics of editing, then you can move up to the next stage. Like try not to, do the biggest things first because you most doubtfully you'll spend years trying to do those. So it makes more sense just to get the basics right first. So the problem is some people who are highly creative, they can't just do the basics all the time. Otherwise, you really die. So I mean, you feel like you're dying. So doing daily videos for me is really tough because I literally do not learn anything from that. So it would be better if YouTube could provide us the ability to do weekly videos or bi-weekly videos and still get the amount of views and reach as opposed to just doing it every day, because it would actually give us content creators more room to be creative and to experiment more and to learn more. So that's the struggles I'm having personally with YouTube in terms of creating and excelling, getting better at stuff. Like for example, there's a really cool, mocap is getting big now, much bigger than before because equipment is getting much cheaper. You can have your own sensors to do motion capture. All the software now is getting much cheaper as well. It used to cost thousands of dollars to get a license. Now it doesn't cost that much anymore. So you can literally transform your face, from looking like a really old guy or looking like Tarantino if you want to have that
Tarantino
face.
is definitely the one.
Right. Or you can have an anime face on your real body. I mean, you could do so much these days with just a simple rig computer. You don't have to maybe render 10 minutes worth of footage, otherwise you'll die. I mean, your computer will die. But maybe just 20 seconds of it is good enough. So we're very lucky to be getting to those stages where we can learn those kind of skills at home and not have to pay gazillion amount of dollars to go to an animation school, for example.
Amen.
Because they have the render farms or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we say stuff like that all the time. Like, I'm blown away by what we're able to accomplish here. This, the kind of thing that we're doing right now, like back in the day, would have taken like a fucking like huge studio with tons and tons of cash to pull off, but like now you can order a few lights off of Amazon, pick up a camera somewhere, and boom, like you're in. Like you're making TV quality shit. It is amazing. So that's a really good point. Delivery and Drew, we had slide into the chat, by the way. I wanted to say hello.
What's up, Drew?
How's it going, Drew? Also, Paradise Decay said that our link to VR Essentials in the description is not working because we put YouTube twice. So maybe we can fix that real quick.
Yeah. I'll fix that while we
so that way somebody so people can click on the link.
Okay, I'll see you guys on the next stream. Bye.
Yeah, see, damn it, dude. I told you. I told you he wasn't gonna stay if you didn't have that link working. Son of a bitch. Well,
but I think the iPhone SE worked very well because it's a 4K phone and it was extremely cheap. So it actually provided better resolution for me compared to the iPhone 7 or whatever it was. So some equipment, and these days, of course, you can get a GoPro very cheap too. So but I'd like to say that I really like other people's channels too. I mean, Cass and Cherry, they do. I think what's really good between the really popular channels and those perhaps that are starting out. I mean, I'll just say in general. Okay, I'm not going to pinpoint everyone because otherwise I'll get killed. But if you look, for example, Cass and Cherry's channel, the B-roll is very good. When you look at Mike from Virtual Reality Oasis, his B-roll is also very good. So, when you look at those kind of channels and doing reviews about, accessories or whatever VR headset they might be reviewing, they really pay time and attention to how they actually portray the product. And I think that's something that I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of brands want to work with VR Essentials, because we spend the time to try and make the B-roll look good. And, it doesn't take that much time to do. It's just a little bit of color correction, which It takes 5 seconds. So, I think I learned from those guys. I learned from Cass and Cherry. I learned from Mike. I learned from, all those other guys who spend that time and try to see what they do, and just be inspired by it. And because obviously, if they're successful, there has to be a reason for it. It's not just because, they're lucky, right? It's
Right.
because they create their own luck. So there are obviously some things there to learn from them, and I think, it just goes to show as to how much time they spend on their craft in making things look good too.
Yeah. Damn, dude. That was well said. So go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I really enjoy all those channels as well. Like Kaz and Cherry they have some amazing production value in their stuff. All these guys, VR Oasis and everyone.
Material Wood.
Oh, dude.
Taro does a really cool, B-roll as well.
His camera work and the quality of his footage is just next level.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I can like totally see what you were saying too when you were talking about how like you can't just kind of do the same thing. Like if you go through VR Essentials, your YouTube channel chronologically, like the intros, the titles, like your approach, like the transitions, like everything is changing all the time. Like you're constantly trying new things and new intros, and like you'll do one that looks amazing, but next week you're already doing something different. So I mean, I think the proof is in the pudding for you. Like it's obvious to me that you are like constantly trying to evolve. You're constantly trying to improve on things. You're constantly trying to push it and see what else you can do. And I mean, I think you're like the best video editor in the YouTube game for VR right now.
The Cybershoes video you did was absolutely amazing. And,
wait, which one? Do you remember which one?
It was the very first one where you had like kind of like where you
decontaminating the box.
Yeah.
It's like flying over and
that was fantastic. But by the way, we still are running that Cybershoes giveaway. It's there's a link down in the description. You can win the full kit, the shoes, the chair, the carpet,
dude. I see
all
the
that
chair.
stuff.
You see that chair back there?
Oh yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, there's the cyber stool.
If you want to win that, go down there and click that link. There's 2 weeks left, guys. So I would go hit that up. So, that link, by the way, should now be working if you want to.
So you've been making VR videos for a while now, and everybody was kind of like expressing their concerns with the Facebook acquisition when that shit was happening with Oculus, and everyone's kind of like got one toe in the water and one toe on land because we're all a little weary and a little scared. But at the end of the day, it was not enough to scare me off or Skiva off, or frankly all of us off. But you fucking put your foot down and you were like, you know what, no, I am not gonna do this, and I'm deleting my Facebook, like, see you later. And now you've been making videos with respect for sure. And now you're doing stuff with the G2 and with the Pico Neo. And respect first of all, of course, but secondly, like, tell us a little bit about your decision-making process, right? Like what was going through your head when you're realizing, you know what, like I'm getting out of this Oculus thing, and what has it been like for you to kind of go against the grain with the YouTube content creation and use these headsets that a lot of people are basically saying don't hold a candle to Oculus?
Well, okay, first of all, I would like to say that, I don't work for Facebook and I don't really know what's going on over there, meaning that actually, whatever I know, whatever I feel, whatever I believe is really based on, all the publications that come out in the press, and also interviews through documentaries and all these kind of things. So my opinion, honestly speaking, could be wrong, right? Because I don't work there and I don't talk to Zuckerberg himself, right? So
that's a nice disclaimer.
Let's just take, everything with a pinch of salt. And I guess we all make our opinions based on whatever information comes to us, right? I think there's two levels as to why I decided to do something. First of all, since I deleted my Facebook account, I feel so much happier as a person. No, not because I deleted it.
Okay.
not because I deleted it, but because the amount of crap that's on Facebook, the amount of negative energy that's on Facebook. First of all, the difference in how people communicate in Facebook VR groups in Facebook is so different to how people talk to each other on Twitter, for example. Now, being in Singapore, Twitter is really not big. Like, no one's on Twitter here, believe me. Uh, yeah, I mean, they know about it, but they don't really know about it. Like most people, a lot of people here are just not on it. So I wasn't on it for 10 years. I've been here since 2004. So longer than 10 years, 15 years. So I never really understood Twitter. Like I understand it's got the same issues as Facebook on a lot of different reasons, a lot of different levels. But the way people communicate is so much more positive. Like all the people in your chat right now, they're on Twitter, and when they tweet, it's positive.
Yeah.
You know, when they're talking together, you can really feel that sense of community. That on Facebook, there's so many different strangers in the groups. You never really know who you're talking. I mean, I never really knew who I was talking to. And secondly, a lot of the things I saw was based on the algorithm of Facebook that was trying to push things towards me in perhaps changing my mood, maybe changing the way I think, maybe influencing what I should buy. So you know, I was friends with a lot of different individuals because, you know, if you're just friends with your own family and friends, that's one thing. But a lot of us aren't. A lot of us are friends with a whole bunch of different strangers, and there's so much crap coming on there. And there's a lot of people who whine, who complain, who cry. I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's nice to vent and have a platform to vent. I'm just saying I don't want to be exposed to it 24 hours 7. It would be nice to see stuff that makes me happy, you know? And I feel that since I've deleted my Facebook account, I'm just a happier person in general. Like I don't feel so depressed. I don't feel so anxious. I just feel more positive. So that's the first thing. That's what I've noticed in the last 2 months that I've actually, since I deleted my Facebook account. So this is the second point now, which is coming to why we went off. So what really did it for me was the idea that people use your data is not something we can really change. You know, Apple use our data, Microsoft use our data, everyone uses our data. But the idea that you can use your data so that you can allegedly, like I don't know. There's a chocolate. I don't know. Maybe I didn't think about cleaning my room or whatever. You know, but suddenly I see some messages about people cleaning their room, and then subliminally something's going in my head, and then suddenly I see ads about Dyson or something, not sponsors. You know, Dyson Hoover or something, right? And then before I know it, I'm in the shop and I'm buying a Dyson frigging Hoover, and I don't even know why. Now, the idea that people can take my data to influence someone else's life, to me that's very scary. So that was mainly why I got off Facebook, because I was thought, well, if they can take 2 million data, I mean, there was an article that came out talking about how 2 million data points were recorded every 20 minutes. Sorry, that's a lot. And then now they're I mean, even well, I'm sure we'll get this later, but a lot of VR headsets have outside tracking, right, and outside cameras. So not just Oculus headset, but the idea that Oculus could actually use the data of what you're doing outdoors, and then record my friends or my wife or my family's conversations, because they might be talking and then it can pick it up. And it, to me, it's just no. I much rather, I guess it's an entrepreneur kind of way of thinking in terms of startups. Like there's a lot of other companies out there who are not as big as them, who will become big. And I think if we can give them more light of day, then we'll be part of the journey. And then the day that they become huge, they were like, hey, you were with us since the beginning. So we'll have a much better rapport with them and develop with them as well. But at the same time, our YouTube channel is really small, so I'm lucky that I can be at a position where I guess not be influenced by revenue or by views or all that, because believe me, our YouTube channel has taken a huge hit because of that, right? We kind of had all the Oculus people viewing our things. We were starting to have 30,000 views on certain videos, and now it's really tough to get those views with HP and Pico, because it's just a representation of the market share, which is there aren't that many people who've bought it versus the Oculus. It's really that simple, right? Yet, 5 years from now, it'll be a different story. So, if I had a channel that had 50,000 views right now and it was based on Oculus, that would be a much more difficult decision to make, right? So, especially if it's your only full-time job. especially if it's your only source of revenue, right? So, so I think there are those kind of things to take into account as well. I'm very lucky because my channel's not so big, and obviously, the income that I personally make from YouTube right now is some income, but not enough to pay for the mortgage, pay for the bills, pay for all that kind of stuff, right? So, I'm lucky that I can make that decision now and not at a later stage where it's too late.
But I mean, like you just said, like you're gaining some momentum, you know what I mean? Like all of a sudden your videos are getting like 30,000 views and stuff. And I mean, Skiba and I have already told you a million times, your videos are super high quality and really, really good, on par with Kaz and Sherry and Tyriel and Mike from VRO and all that. So, it's almost like, sure, like you were able to make the decision because you weren't already big, but it's like, at the same time, like maybe you would be by now if you were using a Quest 2 and just pumping out Quest content like crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you must think of that as well.
Well, I think it was very interesting to do videos like Oculus Link versus virtual desktop. Those were quite popular. And, so sure. But I think, personally for me, being in studio is not really my long-term goal. We were starting to do other content. Well, for example, I worked with with a DJ who's voted by one of the DJ, DJ circles or whatever. He was voted number 16 in Asia, right? So he's quite a big DJ for his category. And I went out and I shot him and I followed him. I mean, he was a personal friend as well, but I stuck up with him for like a week, every night partying and filming him at his nightclub at the time before everything closed down. And then there was other influencers who actually came to the studio, who are anime influencers who have, trying to get them to see how they experience VR and doing content with them. And then I went to China to do a project with the Youth Olympic boxing team, and we gave them the headsets and tried to see how it would help the youth Olympians who are going to compete in the Japan Olympics, how VR could help them. Then for a month we were together and we were shooting the content as well, and working with a whole bunch of different people like that, right? So that's personally where I want to go. It's not necessarily an Oculus channel or a HP channel. It's really about the practical uses of VR and how VR can really help people positively and really make a mark on the world, other than purely gaming, because gaming is one sector, but then there's also the practical part to it as well. So that's really where I was hoping to.
You're awesome, dude. You know that? Yeah. You're awesome. That's so great.
Yeah, I agree, man. I always feel like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place with this stuff, right? Because on one hand, I have this $299 headset sitting here that has pretty close to 4K resolution, tracks really well. It's standalone. It can also be PC VR. On the other hand, I have this $1,000 Valve Index that's sitting here that's broken at least 30% of the time, at least. Right, I'm working on 2 months now of trying to get my controllers replaced. I've been through 2 headsets, 3 sets of controllers so far. It'll be my 4th.
Yo, shout out to Future though.
Yes, Future did. Yeah, yes, amazing guy. He's always there to help me, man. He's such a good dude.
What did he do?
Well, so he sent me his Vive one. This is a funny story too, right? so he got a Cosmos for review. And he sent me the Vive wands to use while I am, waiting on Valve to take their sweet time to replace my controllers. Unfortunately, HTC sent him a set of 2016 Vive wands, brand new in the box. So it's not going to help. But, I mean, the dude was on it. Overnighted him to me like... He's just a stand-up guy, man. He's amazing. Wait a second.
So you can't use him, or he?
I can't use him.
What? You can't?
No, because because I have Vive Tracker 2.0. I have the 2.0 base stations.
Did the Cosmos ship with the 1.0?
It's shipped with 1.0 base stations in 2016 Vive wands. And you have to have 2018 Vive wands or above to work with the 2.0 tracker. I know, it's crazy. They sent him a brand new headset with like 5-year-old controllers, right? I mean, they were new, but they were the 5-year-old models, right? Wow. So, but the dude, it doesn't change the fact that the dude is awesome and he's always there to help people.
Wait a second.
He's just a great guy.
I have the 1.0s, don't I?
You do.
We should use those and like use my base stations and like strap them down for some full body.
Oh, we could totally do that, man. Yeah, we got to get, we're going to hopefully do that Blade and Sorcery video and stuff. We're going to make some good stuff. But yeah, either way, so I'm stuck here with a $1,000 headset that I can't use, or a $299 headset that works, that is mining my data and stealing my soul, you know what I mean? But it's like, well, I either play no VR or, you know, and just stare at my $1,000 index. It doesn't do anything. It's a paperweight.
Dude, Lamborghini are using the Valve Index at their showrooms. Whenever they travel and they go and do all the car shows, they bring their Valve with them. So
nice. But
it just goes to
Lamborghini
show how much that headset has. So
I
mean, it is.
Lamborghini can afford those controllers every couple months.
Right?
When they break,
Aaron Summers in the house. Good to see you, Aaron Summers. Thanks for dropping in. We also have Gamertag VR, Mr. Chris Hatton.
GT.
I like to say his name sometimes because there's a man behind that Gamertag. God damn it!
Hey,
and he's a buff, strong man indeed. Yep, and of course Mateo, who we've said hi to, and
Lissa, Croy. Sorry, I'm just bombing your hello.
Ahead. Just jump in. Like, see, that's what you got to do here. Like, if you want to swim in between realities waters, you gotta go. Hi, Mepper. It's good to see you, Mepper.
What's up,
Mepper is like such a champion of supporting VR creators, dude. Like, I see Mepper everywhere. In every chat I go into, boom, there's
a lot of these guys are just so supportive.
It's true.
Everybody.
It's true.
And to the industry in general. God, it's fantastic.
I just love you all. I love you all, including little Techno Glitch. First time here. Oh, well, welcome, Techno Glitch. It is amazing to have you here in the community. If you don't subscribe, we will have issues. And Chris Richardson is here as well. What's up, Chris Richardson?
Chris Richardson, how you doing, buddy?
We got the fam up in here. Right
we do.
Now. We do. It's good. Okay, so Lazius, what's it been like doing VR with this G2, right? Because I hear all kinds of mixed reviews, right? And I'm assuming that most of them are true. You know, like, are you getting by with the tracking on the G2? How are those visuals treating you? Tell us a little bit about your experience with the headset.
Okay. So first of all, firstly, no issue with tracking. Like, one of the games I'm actually in quite a lot these days, to be honest with you, is Contractors. Ooh. I love that freaking experience. It's just so immersive. I don't have, and as you know, in Contractors, as you do it would in a Population 1, you always have to have, you know, let me just go and get them very quickly.
Contractors is a great game, and I should actually wait for him to come back.
Yeah, Ray Delatorre.
You always have to have the controllers like that, right?
Yep.
Always. And
so occlusion is that an issue?
Yeah. So apparently there used to be. I think they've done a good software update. I'll talk about something else in just a second. So before there might have been some issues when you were doing this because this controller was hiding the LEDs from this one. But now, no issue. You can totally go like this. Nice. The only thing with the HP Reverb G2 tracking is that if you don't move, the tracking stops. So you have to keep moving. So it will stick. So, but it's fine because the moment you start moving, it will come back to you. So it's like it's sleeping or something. It's like it's conserving energy.
I see.
So the moment you stop moving your arms, wherever your arm was last, the moment you start to move again, let's say after 6 seconds. So if you don't move for, let's say, 6 seconds or 10 seconds, and you move, you'll see it'll come back up. It won't be like this, right? But if you keep doing this, it won't stick. It will keep moving, right?
Interesting.
Now, in terms of
that sounds like a problem to me. Just for the record,
no, it's not because it doesn't create any. It doesn't feel like it breaks the immersion. It doesn't break the immersion.
All right,
and you get used to it. However, the only thing that does make it weird is that if you spend too much time in VR, and you take off your VR headset, and you're looking at something like your phone, and you know when you're looking at your phone, now only people in VR I think will understand this. Otherwise, they'll think we're just nuts. I hope that's the case, right? So, you know, when you're looking at your phone, obviously you've been in VR for quite a long time, you forget about your arms.
Yeah, this is true.
And you feel like your arms are floating. And then you go, oh shit, I got arms. And then you start moving them again. Like there's a disconnect between the brain and the arms when you're looking at something for too long that's in front of you. I've noticed that with VR, and I think it makes it because also sometimes like you're not moving your arms and it sticks. So when you come back up, it starts to move again. So the brain kind of thinks that my hands are in idle mode or something. But anyway, coming back to the HP Reverb G2. just a little bracket there. The other thing is, no, the graphics are amazing. I can read letters like, with the Oculus Quest 1, I was not able to read anything. It was very hard. I was squinting all the time. Now, especially as I'm using the VR Wave lens prescription adapters, because I wear glasses, right? And it's when I was using glasses. If you have glasses, forget it. Don't get lens adapters. Otherwise, you're going to hate your G2 because lenses can't fit inside. Glasses can't fit inside. So the moment I got the adapters, amazing experience. Like I hadn't had the adapters for at least a month before. I had the G2 for a month before I had the adapters. And the moment I had the adapters, they changed my entire VR experience altogether, because I had tried with the Oculus Quest 1 first. So with the Oculus Quest 2, suddenly I can read everything. Everything's super clear. The only thing that aren't clear is whatever the developers didn't, perhaps do. Like, for example, I've noticed that a lot of developers, for some reason, perhaps it's a memory issue, when they upload a skybox, a lot of the times the skybox is actually blurred. So the skybox is basically the background. It's like a 360-degree background, and it's blurry. So those, like, if you go into Windows Mixed Reality World, you'll have a blurry background. But whatever is put in 3D will all be very, very clear. So game experience is amazing. Tracking, absolutely no issue.
What if I'm like Expert Plus ripping it up in Beat Saber?
Like, I don't know. I haven't tried. I don't have Beat Saber. I'm so sorry.
Which is insane because I'm currently wearing my Octopus Quest Beat Saber playing T-shirt, which is a VR Essentials exclusive T-shirt.
Yeah.
This is VR Essentials merch right here. What the fuck you doing?
I used to play Beat Saber, but then when I hopped to the HP, I didn't buy it from Steam yet. So, but I bought it from the Oculus. Maybe I can use Revive or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe
Revive will work. Yeah.
I can experiment maybe. But now, like when I do all my videos and you see me playing, I actually have all these lights. Like for example, this light here, which is pretty bright. I don't know if you can see it on the camera.
Yeah, I can see it a little bit.
And then I have this light here, and I have, so this light, I have.
You should just pull down your whole studio.
This light, I got the lights at the back, and they're all freaking on me, and there's no problem with tracking. So I can just, you can just, that's just to give it to you as to how it is. But I think the industry standard should be what Oculus did, which is infrared technology, because even the Pico Neo, I don't know what technology they're using in the next Neo 3. They haven't revealed it yet. I think they're milking the information to get as much publicity as possible.
I thought they mentioned that they moved to infrared tracking. And they moved away from magnetic tracking and went to infrared.
I heard they moved away from magnetic, but I haven't read the official technology in an article yet. And the PR have yet to come back to me as to the exact technology that they're using. But if they've gone for infrared, do you guys think that there should be some standards in the industry, or do you think that everyone should just do whatever they want? Because infrared should be standard.
Yeah. Well, we got OpenXR now that is going to attempt to kind of unify everything so someone can program for one standard and have it work across all the headsets. And I think that's how it has to be. I don't know a developer out there besides someone like Epic or someone, right, that has the money to, okay, let's make a VR game, but we have to make it like 5 times for every different headset, right? We have to have an open standard, I believe, in order to get developers on board.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine? That's crazy, right? I mean, companies are printing money because of that, right? I mean, it gives jobs to people and it keeps the economy going. But at the same time, it doesn't make sense for the progress of VR, because if a developer could spend literally 1 hour on one task instead of 10 hours on the same task, doing it 10 different times, it makes no sense. We're not going to progress in
Right. Well, most of the games and a lot of these indie studios, don't have the time and resources for this, right?
Exactly. Especially indies.
Yeah. Right. So we got to have that. We have to have that standardized VR stuff, in my opinion. So,
your comment about about your phone and like how things are weird after you've been in VR a lot sparked a pretty intense conversation in the chat where like everybody's kind of like weighing in on it and like talking about how like spending a lot of time in VR like makes them see things in the world differently, and how like all of a sudden they're like dreaming in more 3D than they've normally done. And like I actually really find some of this stuff interesting because the lasting impacts of using some of these technologies have not exactly been fully like learned or expressed yet, you know? And my brain literally broke using the Nintendo 3DS some years ago. I've told this story at least somewhere before, but back when my wife and I were dating, it's so weird I say stuff like that now. Back when my wife and I were
newlywed over here.
I know she traveled internationally and like left me by myself for like a week, and I spent that time playing A Link Between Worlds, the Zelda game on 3DS, which is phenomenal. And I had the 3D maxed on my 3DS for the entire thing, and I sat there for like 2.5 days, just did nothing but play A Link Between Worlds, and I beat the game. Closed it. That was great. I'm gonna go play some Smite now. And I went up on my computer and sat down on my computer screen, and everything on my computer was 3D with my naked eyes. Everything, the card art in the game, like the text was popping out. Like I literally broke my fucking eyeballs and brain for a night. I had the same effects of the 3D screen on my flat monitor just happening. Like I couldn't believe it. I was tripping. I was like, what the fuck? Like this is all 3D right now, you know? And it was just from having my eyes adjusted to that for like 2 days straight. And then when I put the screen down, my eyes were like, well, this is where we live, so this is where we're going to stay. And then when I looked at just a normal flat screen, it was still giving me 3D. So
not to go kind of off your initial topic or point here, but the new Nintendo 3DS, which isn't really new, it's just called the new Nintendo 3DS, has like legit eye tracking.
Yes.
Right? Come on. So
Nintendo's, whichever direction you look at it, it changes the overlapping images so it can stay in 3D.
How come Nintendo could get down eye tracking so easily on a little handheld console, but no one's really pulled it off in a consumer way in VR yet?
I mean, I don't know. And either way, the reason why I shared the story is because like it's obvious that like we're tricking our brains and eyeballs into doing a lot of this stuff. And it will be interesting to see like how it actually does affect us long term, you know? If like all of a sudden people like the way they perceive things changes because they spend so much time in VR or whatever.
When you spend any time in any other reality, right, and then you come back to this one, especially, man, when I first got into VR, I'd take off my headset after like 4 or 5 hours of playing, and I'd be like, oh my god, none of this seems real. This is all bullshit.
Well, I think the other issue also is, why are all the most popular titles the most gorish ones? I mean, that says something about us as a species, all right? I think that's
like
pretty
Blade and
dangerous.
Sorcery. Yeah, like, you know, I'll tell you, man, I'll bring people over here and everyone wants to try Blade and Sorcery for some reason, right? And you know, for good reason. It's a fantastic game, but it is quite the psychological experiment, if you will, to watch these people and to watch how every single person interacts with these people that are coming up to them. I mean, you got people like Alex that were, this guy was definitely a warrior back in the Viking days or something. I mean, he is nasty, right? But some people, man, like they go in there and everyone acts so different, and it's like a legit murder simulator is what I call it.
It really is.
So I'm not a meek murderer.
You are not.
I'm not a murderer. I'm an expressive murderer.
You are.
Yeah,
I kill with expression.
I do. I mean, it's like, it's life, you know? Yeah. Killing people is like life. You have to express yourself while you do it.
But you do get tremendous skills from it. I mean, you know,
you do get killed.
I mean skills. Like if you go into Contractor and stay there for a while, you will learn how to be stealthy, how to, you know, avoid certain scenarios, or if you're scared about, like, you know, having someone pointing a gun at you can be pretty scary for a lot of people, the most of us, right? Especially when you're not used to it, and graphics can be good. And then you start getting used to all that kind of scenario. So that could actually help in real life, for example, preparing for a big meeting or today's interview. Last year I was pretty nervous, but, you know, so I had to do it now with Contractors before coming, just to calm my nerves. And it actually helps to, you know, or doing Saints and Sinners or whatever, right? All these kind of Phasmophobia and all these kind of things, right? So it can actually help. in real life too, to get used to other situations which are not as gorish or twisted,
Sure.
but
that's true. I mean,
down the level of anxiety, I think.
Well, you kind of learn, especially in multiplayer games, you kind of learn like the habits that people have. Like if you like run around a corner, you can kind of almost know that they're going to chase you around the corner. If I didn't allude to the fact that I saw you back there, so I can run around a corner and just wait for you to chase me around that thing. And as soon as you come around, I might have a melee weapon and I'll fucking nail you with it. I do that to people all the time in multiplayer games. And there's one time I was with my lady at the mall and I like duck around something and like knew the path, like just like instinctively. And I like came around the corner right in her face and I scared the crap out of her, and like she did not expect me to come out. And I was like, I thought to myself like, oh dude, I just multiplayer gamed her. Like I like went around a corner and then like just like got her, and I think I have multiplayer gaming skills to thank for that.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you, man, if there's ever a zombie apocalypse or something, I there's a list of people that I will be going to their house and being like, yo, I'm hanging with you because yeah, I know you're gonna survive. And,
I will cut off a lot of zombie heads before I go down. Like a lot of them. And by the way, Lazius, I gotta know, like, yes, sir. Maybe you're a little nervous to come on the show, right? But like the second you get in here, this is nothing, right? Like we could do this all day, right?
I think when we've spoken before. We went into Real Fish together, right? Real fishing.
Yes, we did.
Real Fish, right? That was a pretty awesome experience. So that helps.
Real VR Fishing, by the way. Fantastic
Real VR
game.
Fishing, yeah.
If you haven't picked it up yet, go get it. It is a great game, man, and it is a fantastic multiplayer experience to just
by the way,
hang out and chill with your friends.
Do you know if they patched the Oculus and the PC VR servers together? Because I remember last time we tried to play, I was actually using the Oculus Link at the time, and we couldn't find each other because I was using the PC server and not the Oculus Quest server.
I don't know either. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be interesting too.
But I do know that I also have like experienced some anxiety like before going into an interview or a show or something like that. And and I guess I'm just trying to offer a word of comfort to those out there that like if you do experience anxiety, like getting involved in something like this, I promise you that like once you're just like on and like you're going and you're doing the thing, that all kind of gets alleviated. And I mean, I guess I can only speak for myself here, but like it's once I get up and running in anything, it's like, oh wait a second, this is what I was anxious about. Like I can do this all day. Like this is comfortable, like we're hanging out with people, we're talking about stuff that we love and we're passionate about, and that's easy. Like I mean, you could talk about VR all goddamn day.
Okay. Okay. I want to ask you, in terms of like lowering our anxieties and all that kind of stuff, right? Obviously, we need more data to be able to. I mean, developers need more data to be able to either make us more anxious, more scared, or less scared. So, Omnicept, obviously, HP releasing the Omnicept, right? So now that can track your pupils' size. So if your pupil goes wider or retracts, it can not just your pulse, right? It's the fact that it can also,
but it does do your heart rate as well.
It does do your heart rate too. Yeah. So I mean, what do you guys think about that and how it could potentially help VR? I mean, should we have this kind of stuff?
I mean, this is a double-ended sword too, right? Because it could make for some amazing gaming experience.
Double-edged sword.
Double-ended
swords.
Oops. Oopsie. But you know what I mean. So yeah, double-edged sword.
There you go.
But yeah, because you get companies like Oculus that if they did stuff like that, they would also be using that data for advertising things, for to kind of track and see how you're feeling about different things to better sell you things, right? But in a game, if you're getting bored and you're going to leave, I don't want to play this anymore. And then the game sees that and ramps up the experience. I mean, there's a lot of different things you could do with that would be fantastic. But also, it's kind of scary as well because of companies like Oculus. Well, Facebook, I should say.
I mean, I don't know. As a gamer who has a Facebook account and isn't going to get rid of it, I want this shit to be as awesome as possible. I want the immersion. I want the procedurally generated experiences. I want the dynamic changing experiences based on my level of interaction. And if my eyes fucking dilate when I see something I like, give me some more of it, frankly. Like I think that all of this stuff is going to be awesome, and I think that it will probably have more things that I like about it, enjoy about it, than things that I don't like and don't enjoy about it. And that's kind of the way I feel about like all of this shit, you know? Like, I don't enjoy that, like, my phone sitting here listening to this conversation that we're having, but I do enjoy like getting information the second I want it. And I do enjoy, you know, like the conveniences of like, you know, like, I don't know, you're like smart home and shit, like knowing when your door opens.
But do we have to have it both? Do you have to have that negative side with the good side? Do you have to have these companies using that information for terrible things instead of just making good experiences for us?
I mean, you don't, I want to say no.
Like if you came over here and I was all nice, and then every time you left, I did something nasty with the information I got from when you were here, you probably wouldn't trust me anymore, and you wouldn't want to hang out with me anymore. But I'd say, but dude, while you're with me, we're having a great time.
Yeah, you might be that friend that I use because he has cool shit at his crib, you know? Like, I just go over your house to use your fucking Xbox, you know, and like leave. And I know that you're a dick, but you're the one that's got the Xbox.
Now the truth comes out.
Anyway, man.
What do you think, Lazius?
I mean, and we know that they're releasing it for the enterprise market, right? But I mean, this is... We also know that you know the series Mission Impossible, not the movies, the series, like the old series from the 1970s or something.
I don't know that series.
Right. Well, that's the one where the guy had white hair, gray hair, or something. I can't remember. But anyway, you know, my mom used to tell me that all the series she watched when she was a toddler or whatever, a teenager, that 20 years later, all the technologies from that thing came out eventually from those old series. And the other thing is, you know, like we know the army generally invents technology 50 years ahead of whatever is in the consumer market. For example, they're normally 50 years ahead. So they're working on stuff that will come out in 50 years' time, basically. And also, you know, Google and Apple, excuse me, I'm eating this thing. You know, they've got R&D going, you know, 24/7, 365 days a year, working on stuff that possibly we would never get to know until maybe 10 years from now, 20 years from now, right? It's like saying Apple never worked on AR. No, they've been working on it for the last 11 or 12 years. So, you know, so the thing is, Omniset to me is like military grade equipment. I mean, those kind of sensors, I mean, to take the sensor of your pulse, I think that's something that, you know, a lot of other hardware can do. So it's not an issue. But the whole iris scanning thing, that to me is like a whole other level of, I mean, can you imagine if Facebook come out with that? Do you think it would be well perceived? Like the Oculus Quest 3 comes out, because obviously the Oculus Quest 3 is going to come out soon, next year. I mean, we think, right? Allegedly. And we can already anticipate what's going to be in it, right? I mean, if we look at Deca Gear having facial tracking recognition, we look at HTC. Now, we don't know if HTC are going to have facial tracking in their next headset, right? But we know obviously they have a facial tracker.
Oh, I never even thought about that.
Right?
I think it'll be.
That would be cool if it was just baked in.
Yeah, I can't see why it wouldn't be.
It has to be baked in.
Extra cost. Yeah. Well, no, because not everyone needs it. So people would be paying.
But it's a feature on paper.
No.
A reason to buy
they
it,
need it. They need it.
Yeah, that's true. To collect your data.
They need it.
So they know when I smile when I see something. Right, bastards.
I think
I was playing with that when I went into Neos last night with Z-Storm Gaming. He has the face tracker, and he was in there like making faces at us and puffing his cheeks out, and it was really cool.
By the way, I do want to say hello to Adam Bombody, who has made it to a live
what's
podcast.
Up, Adam Bomb?
Made it to a live one. Here you are, boom, live on the air, and it's 4 a.m. in Singapore, and we are with Lazius Kaye, and it's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think this technology is
just having an energy bar. Excuse me.
Oh yeah.
Have that energy bar.
Yeah, man, you got to energize, man. But you know, right now these features are for enterprise because the enterprise has to implement this stuff, right? They got to take these sensors, they got to write code for it, they got to figure out how to use it, they got to figure out the best ways to put it in games and experiences. Right. So right now, if you were to spend that $1,200-$1,300 on one of these headsets, it would be really because you wanted to implement this stuff, right? There aren't going to be any experiences that fully utilize this stuff yet.
And also, if you No, but the other thing is, if you, for example, you go to Singapore Airlines, for example, or whatever other airline, they buy an Omni set. They're not just going to buy one. They're going to buy like literally 1,000 of them or 5,000 of them. So going for the enterprise market is definitely got its rewards because it helps to get adoption in the back door. It helps to get all those corporate. I mean, I've worked in the corporate sector for quite a while before I stopped. And believe me, a lot of these people, those that I've met, I'm not going to generalize again. Most of them that I've known are just not adventurous people. They're adventurous in terms of how to make passive income, but they're not adventurous in terms of they're not early adopters, is what I'm trying to say. So, especially, that's another conversation, but VR in Southeast Asia is dead. It just doesn't exist. I think 100 people, maybe 200 people have an Oculus Quest here. And I think maybe if we're lucky, 50 people have an HP Reverb. I don't know, maybe something like that. I haven't counted, but I think it's very low. So, trying to get those kind of people in VR is very hard. So when you have a company that just spends whatever and gets 5,000 headsets and everybody gets to wear it because they have to train how to be a bank teller or how to fix an airplane engine or how to work on whatever it might be, it really helps to get adoption because then they're the ones who are going to go home and go, wow, this is pretty awesome. I should buy one for myself and my family. So
yeah, this is true.
Going through the enterprise is a good sideway door. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can't explain to someone that hasn't tried VR what it's like to be in VR. You have to put them in VR. And a lot of people don't have any friends that are gamers that, are grabbing all the newest headsets or whatever. So going to work and trying a headset there could very well be that sweet little taste of that candy that they need to go home and start spending their money on their own stuff.
But what's interesting, right, is like, let's say that you go to work and they have 20 Pico Neo 2 eyes there and everybody's using this wireless headset at work and using this Pico Neo. You go home, you're going to start shopping, and guess what you're going to buy? Pico. Not a fucking Pico. You're going to buy a Quest.
Yeah. It depends. It depends because, yes, if your company bought a headset that is primarily not a consumer-friendly headset, sure. But you need to understand also that maybe different cultures. In Asia, generally speaking, people buy what other people have really given the stamp of approval on. So if their company has bought a certain brand and is consumer friendly, they will generally go with that because their company bought it. So they think, oh, I can trust that product. It must be good. It must be something that's going to be long lasting. So if the company bought a Pico Neo 3 and by then they got everything together. I was trying to be polite.
Please.
In terms of the store, so you can put a key inside, for friends and family. You can change the language or the currency because unfortunately it doesn't change at the moment. It's still stuck, even though when you make a change, it's not changing. I mean, for me, it's not changing. So you can buy in US dollar, you can buy in Singapore dollar, you can buy in UK sterling, whatever. And then the way to buy would be a more friendly way. Maybe you have different ways of paying, not just PayPal, but also just different ways, right? So once they got that right, and then they have all the content in there, there's no reason why people won't go, oh, actually, Pico Neo 3 would be the one for me because let me tell you something. It's put in the box, but it's actually very light and very comfortable. It's a great headset. Like, honestly speaking, the Pico Neo 2 is actually a really good and decent headset. I love it. I use it for Reckitt NX. I use it for Synth Riders. I use it for all my VR fitness, to be honest with you.
That's cool.
I don't use it. I don't use it for Pop One, but I use it for my.
Well, and it has baked-in PC to mobile streaming right out of the box. You can it'll connect up to your computer and play regular VR games.
Yeah, and the thing is, I use it for that because I don't use the install. Unfortunately, that's what I was trying to say is that the store needs work in terms of development, not in terms of content only. Because I can't download. Synth Riders, they can't give me their app to download on the Pico because there's no key for me to be able to redeem. And so it's very hard for me. And then they have to download. They don't want to send me the source file and then plug into my. They can't do that. So it becomes complicated. So if they could make that easy, then I can actually use natively the Pico Neo 2 to do all that, because you can with some apps, like for example, they have O-Shape, and I used O-Shape inside of the Pico, and it's great. The tracking's fantastic. I can move my arms, like, do all that kind of stuff, like really fast, and there's no tracking issues. Everything works smoothly. The graphics are fantastic. So that's why I'm saying that the Pico Interactive, if they can really get it right, and of course if they have the budget, because honestly speaking, $60 million is nothing, in this world. Facebook can eat them like
right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yum, yum, yum. Like a little
yum,
energy
yum,
bar.
right?
Yum, yum, yum,
Right.
yum, yum.
So they're going to need more money, but at the end of the day, they're on the right path, and I hope that people like Pico don't sell out to Facebook, because it's very possible Facebook could come around and say, "Look, here's $1 billion."
Yep.
Right.
That's what they do, and that's why they keep getting in trouble. They keep buying their competition, and
exactly. So let's just hope that people like Pico can grow, and HTC get it right on the next headset with the tracking.
I personally am excited for Pico in the future, dude.
Me too.
I was absolutely blown away by their VR glasses at CES 2021.
Okay.
Blown away, and not by the Pico Neo 2, which I thought was great. But the glasses blew me away, and I really see potential in those products in the future. So I'm really excited to see that.
I liked the Pico Neo 2i that we got to try. So Alex and I went to CES 2020. We got to try out the Pico 2i. We got to, it has the built-in Tobii eye tracking, and you got to try it without the eye tracking on, and then with eye tracking on with foveated rendering, and then you got to watch the frame rate just go through the roof, which was absolutely super cool. Great headset though, and looking forward to the third one.
And also, it's not just the headset that's good about Pico, it's actually the people. You can have a great product, but shit people in the company, and things will go nowhere. And they have actually really good people. I talked to Lalande, who heads all their division, I think, for Europe, and is at the team, Logan and stuff. They're all really nice people. They really work well together. When I email people, they email straight back. Like the kind of customer service, they'll reply you within 24 hours. And I think this kind of stuff, considering they probably receive hundreds of emails every day.
Yeah, I've emailed them a few times. They've never replied to me.
It's because you're not VR Essentials.
Yeah, this is true.
A black eye come in then.
You know who's a good person? Person. Who's been lighting up the chat. And you know what else person has been doing lighting up is our Discord. Person is like pulling ahead of everybody in our Discord right now. There's like almost like a little bit of a race going on to see who can level up in our Discord, because we're going to give away some Between Realities merch in there.
Yeah.
So join our Discord. There's a link in the description, right?
Yep.
I'm assuming.
There is.
I'm saying there is. I don't know if there is. There's a link in the description. Yeah, there is though, for real. And click on it and join our Discord and start commenting and get some free Between Realities shit.
Heck yeah.
Bo and Audie just slipped into the chat as well. It's always great to see Bo and Audie. I saw Lixnix slide in here. Good to see Lixnix always. And Matt Hooper saying your first name and giving away that they know you in real life.
Yes, that's my homie.
Like, come on. Like,
Matt is actually one of my great friends and my chiropractor, and after a lot of time playing Population 1, I go to him to get adjusted because my shoulders go to shit from climbing.
Wow.
So yes.
So Chris 9989 brought something up which I think is worth mentioning on the show today. Pico's issue for a while will be content. They're getting old ports like Super Hot, while the Quest 2 is getting bangers like Resident Evil 4.
Oh yeah,
which just got announced today, this morning.
Okay, I'd like to add something to that. Now, what people need to, I think, understand about Pico's strategic position here is that they're not looking to fight against the tide or go against the tide. They're looking to ride their own wave. All right. They're looking to become the leading Asian VR brand, not the Western leading VR brand, because they know that it's going to be very tough to convince Westerners to go against Quest and all that kind of stuff. Now, India has 1-point-something billion people. China has 1-point-something billion people. When you put Asia together, there are more people in Asia than in America, right? And Europe together, right? So that's their market. Their market is that. So what they're looking to do is they're looking to take developers who are working in the West, who want to increase their revenue that Oculus can't do for them, and promote them basically in Asia. That's the strategy. Because at the end of the day, VR manufacturers are not, I know this is going to sound weird, but maybe hopefully it makes sense. VR, anyone who gets into VR are not a hardware manufacturer. The business plan is not being a VR manufacturer or hardware manufacturer. The business plan is to be a marketing platform. That's where they make the money. They make the money through licensing. They make the money through revenue that the app sell, through additional commissions. They make all the money from data as well, of course. Why did Oculus just launch the premium membership thing? Because they're going to make additional revenue from that. So that's really where they make the money. So what they're doing is saying, look, guys, you got whoever you are, like the guys who are doing from Socus or Focus. I don't know how you. I say Socus. The guy who did the racing game. Oh my God!
It's 4 a.m. and the pressure is on. Can Lazius pull this out?
The Formula One inspired racing game in space. Yeah.
Assetto Corsa. Oh.
No. The one that's in early access at the moment.
Z Racer.
Right, Z Racer. So it's taking those kind of guys and expose them to 1 billion people. I mean, can you imagine? It's really doing that. So I think that's where Pico Interactive, and not just Pico Interactive, also DPVR. I just hope that DPVR really get their Nolo out of the way, or that Nolo and DPVR come together in creating a standalone VR headset, because they already have a standalone. Unfortunately, you have to put the Nolo thing on top of it. Yeah, and it has so many tracking issues. This thing is just crazy. So, it'd be great if those two brands can come together, create something really amazing, because then all your developers back in the West will be like, oh, yeah, I'd love to hop on that channel because I got 2 billion people who can play my game all of a sudden.
Man, because I have a hard time seeing those kinds of separations. And I mean, I know I'm probably not the person who would, but I'm constantly viewing this VR thing as an international community. You're in fucking Singapore right now. You know what I mean? We're talking about the same shit. And we were on MRTV's show, and he's in fucking Germany, and we were talking to GT the other day, and we are literally international. We're all in different countries talking about the same thing. So I don't see how the markets are all that different personally, but
it's just a language thing. It's like if you, for example, in China, there's nothing in English. Nothing's in English. Okay. Every game is in Chinese. Any app that you use, people talk in Chinese in apps. There are some international Chinese people, don't get me wrong, but 50% of the China population don't even speak their modern Chinese, just to give you an idea. So that means that 50% of the population hasn't learned the Chinese they're supposed to talk today, and that's Chinese.
What do they learn?
They still talk their own Chinese, which is dialect Chinese.
Oh, okay, right? I see.
So India's even worse. It has so many dialects that there's no Indian. There's no one Indian dialect. So they have to translate everything in hundreds of different dialects, basically. So so that's where the things start to change. And then Japan is in Japanese, Korean's in Korean, all this kind of stuff. So that's why English over there is not really the dominant language, and people, other than maybe the very wealthy people or very well educated people, then can speak English and deal with English things. But generally, even if they speak English, they much prefer to, play the game in Chinese, or, read things in Chinese,
Right. Which I would do as well. I mean, I want to see shit in a language I understand. That makes perfect sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Resident Evil 4 coming to the Oculus Quest 2, and that it's an exclusive to the Oculus Quest 2? It will not be coming, from what they said, it won't be coming to the PC, it won't be coming to the Quest 1, it won't be coming to any of the other headsets. It is Quest 2 exclusive, and I think it's kind of a big deal, right? Because Resident Evil 4 was a big game for a lot of people. It's also old, and it is going to be shown now to a whole new generation full of people in a different way. Full motion control and hand tracking tracking.
Dude, that's
interesting.
that's a huge franchise.
It is
the Oculus exclusive.
It is, but it's not the franchise. It's that one game, right? Because Resident Evil 7 and you know,
I know
PlayStation
that,
exclusive,
but Resident Evil,
Yes.
like what the fuck? Like, of course, like they have like, you know, the PlayStation VR exclusive. That makes sense. Sony has a Resident Evil thing that's like Sony. Fucking PlayStation, yeah, but like now Oculus has a Resident Evil experience that is exclusive to their platform. That is pretty intense.
I think it is, man. I think it's a big deal, and it looks like it's going to be really, really cool.
I've only played the beginning of that game. I tried to play it with my lady, and she was like, "What?"
It's tough going back to that game right now with the standard controller because the controls do not translate very well to this day and age, right?
Yeah,
but so now going through
body.
it in VR is going to be absolutely incredible. You know, with full motion controls and everything. I think it's going to be great. And you know, it looks like it's going to be pretty cool, as you can see here on the screen.
It was dude, like, you know, chat's a few minutes behind, but Mepper just said something that I think is super interesting. Going back to all the different dialects of Indian, Mepper said, I knew some Indians, and they said that the dialect problem was so bad that people in neighboring villages would often switch to speaking English since the most common, since they couldn't understand each other's dialects.
Wow, that's interesting. Dang.
And it's technically the same language, but just the dialect is so different and foreign that you end up just all speaking English, so that way you can understand each other.
Wild.
That's insane.
That is.
Yeah.
It is pretty wild. You know, there's pretty big dialect differences here in the United States if you go from like Arizona, for example, to New York. But I mean,
those are accents. Those are accents. I can understand all the words that a New Yorker is using.
Yeah, I guess. It's true. All right.
I just killed Lazius with that.
That's pretty hilarious.
Either way, so going back to Resident Evil here, I think it's a big deal. Yeah. And I am looking forward to playing this game. I say I'm looking forward to it, but when it comes down to it, I am very scared going into VR horror games. I did make it through Resident Evil 7 all the way in VR, played that like 30-40 hours or whatever it was, but every time, like, it took me like 15 minutes of preparing myself before going into that game, like breathing, oh man, it's not real, I'm not really gonna die, you know, getting myself in that mindset. And
you have the haptic fest, right? You have the haptic fest, right?
Yes.
So that's even worse for you because you're like truly immersed, right?
Yeah, I mean, if this supported haptics, I can't imagine, you know, they're going to implement this.
Which is, I mean, it's pretty awesome because we've got a dude on our mod team at Bhaptics called Sir Coolness, and he is the guy who made the Population 1 mod for Bhaptics haptic suits. Cool. And he has been working on making it possible to mod Quest games, so that way we can add a Bhaptics mod to the Quest version of Population 1. And he just got Melon Loader, which is like the mod program initially created for Boneworks, to open and run on the Quest 2. So he's actually like knocking on the door right now of being able to mod Quest games.
You hit it here first. People
you did hear
cracking that Quest wide open.
You did hear it first. So here first. So the Melon Loader is now like working on the Quest, and now I guess the next part I have no idea because I'm not a fucking dev. But he's super smart and really awesome, and he's actually making some big moves right now on hopefully making that possible.
I will tell you what, man. I could barely, and I mean barely, handle Resident Evil 7. I was scared,
really intense,
shitless. And if you put haptics on me in a game like this, dude, I don't know if I can take it, man. I mean, VR horror is so crazy.
I can just see the amount of videos that GT is going to do on his channel when this thing comes out.
Yeah. GT became a big supporter of Bhaptics pretty fast because, you know, once you start using body haptics, you know, I mean, it's hard not to.
It's
anymore.
like VR. It's like you don't know what you're missing until you do it, and then you do it and you're like, okay, well, shit, like how am I gonna get one? You know, like you kind of just like you just switch a little bit. By the way, something that Bo and Audie said that I thought was great: bad controls is probably the biggest thing that made Resident Evil scary from the start. And you know what? I think you're right. Like I think because that's true, because like you get into this situation where like something's getting really close to you and you're like, and you're like, trying to like turn your character's body so you can then move it in the right direction away from the thing, and like you get all like jumbled and like and it's like really intense. Like I actually do think that the pad controls did contribute to like the intensity and scariness of some of those games.
Well, I'm happy to go through this game with good controls.
So am I.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But still, I think that's worth noting.
I mean, do you think it's fair that it's exclusive to Facebook?
I mean,
fair.
Yeah. I mean, you know, if game companies, consoles do exclusives, and do you know why? Because if you want to play that game, you're going to buy that console. Sony does it, Microsoft does it, everybody does it, and this is what you got to do in the console market. And the Quest is console VR.
Have they revealed how much money they pay to make it exclusive, or
no,
it's like
no
NDA signed just there?
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, they typically don't say things like that. Facebook is very quiet with financial things.
But it probably wasn't that much, right? Because like it's not like everyone's been knocking down the door at Oculus, being like, "Where's Resident Evil 4?"
Actually,
you know,
technically, we should be able to read their annual report. I don't know if they disclose that kind of stuff, because Oculus now is part of Facebook,
they don't separate things out in their reports, right? They say this amount came from non-ad revenue, right? And we assume a lot of that is Quest based, but there's other products that they have. You know what I mean? They have a bunch of stuff. Now, I feel like a majority of that now is going to be the Quest, but we can only kind of guess, you know?
Yeah.
So. But anyway,
when do you think they're going to reveal the Quest? When do you think they're going to start? Now, listen, since HTC have been teasing the ViveCon, right? I mean, it's clear that Oculus are on the offensive, and they don't want anyone to be talking about ViveCon, right?
Yeah.
Because in the last week, they've been bulldozing the amount of news.
Yeah.
Do you think is there a possibility? Do you think they'll announce anything during ViveCon, just to
other than we're absolutely going to see that headset.
Yeah,
we're absolutely going to see the headset.
Could happen.
Yeah,
we're going to see a wireless headset.
But I'm talking about Facebook. I'm not talking about HTC.
Facebook.
Oh, do you think Facebook is going to during ViveCon? You mean kind of like Valve put in
reveal something?
Who did that?
Valve did that to Facebook. Valve announced the Index when Facebook was announcing the Quest, I believe. It was during Facebook Connect or Oculus Connect at that time.
Oh, yeah. There was like that must be
because everyone was pissed off because the Rift S was not what they wanted. And then Valve came out and said, upgrade your experience. And kind of gave them a little jab. And by upgrading your experience, it means leaving your broken Index on the table to look at. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
Sorry. It's a great headset when it works, people, when it works. But no, you know, I don't know. I think Facebook is definitely on the offensive, right? They have a huge market, and they know that the one company that could possibly, you know, dig into that market in the mobile section would be HTC. They got their own ecosystem. They got their own store. You know, they have what they need to make it happen. It's just all going to be about whether these people can nail the tracking and if they can kind of get some of these contracts. Now, if they had a mobile service like Viveport Infinity, and you could pay a monthly fee and play any game on the store you want, I don't know how Oculus is going to compete with that.
I really
would be
hope,
good.
I'll tell you something, because I used Viveport using the DPVR headset, and there were serious lagging issues with it. So, and I was using Wi-Fi 5, not Wi-Fi 6, but I was in the same room as the actual Wi-Fi, no doors, no walls in between, the same room. And I'm really, now, of course, the DPVR headset is not a XR2 chip and all that, but, you know, I really, like today, I went on the Viveport website, and there were issues loading some of the pages. Now, I don't know if that was my browser or issues there or not, but I had to refresh like 3-4 times to get things working. So I really hope that, you know, they're going to nail that kind of stuff, and that there's no latency when you go into the cloud, because it's all in cloud server, right? So
yeah, I mean, it depends, because, you know, I play virtual desktop stuff with my Quest, and I have almost no lag, but I have a really good router. It's still Wi-Fi 5 router. I'm still waiting on my back-ordered Wi-Fi 6E router, but it works incredible, and it's all about how these people optimize the code, right? I mean, it's all about programming. So
because with Viveport on the DPVR headset, you would not, because it was a subscription-based thing. It wasn't. How can I say? I was playing off the server. I wasn't playing off the DPVR headset. So I hope that there will be a possibility to download the game onto your HTC headset and not play from a Shadow. Like there used to be this company called Shadow, right, where you could basically play all your favorite games from a cloud-based server.
I would think that it would have to go locally onto the headset.
I hope it does,
personally, because we're not there yet. Cloud-based, we're not there yet. The latency is a huge issue. Oculus came out and said it's now in their terms of service that no one is allowed to play anything cloud-based. You have to have the machine located in your home in order to use virtual desktop type services and stuff like that, right?
Imagine you used a cloud machine and like picked up Windlands 2, and then you start throwing up because it's latency.
Right, exactly. And that's why Facebook is kind of doing this, right? I mean, they can't control that experience. And on cloud services, it is just the latency is too much, man. And you don't want to screw up someone's experience with this stuff. It has to be perfect. And eventually down the road, it's all going to go cloud based, right? When we're in 5G, Wi-Fi 6E is the standard. Everything is low latency. That'll be different, but we're still 5 to 10 years away from that.
Yeah, it's going to be in a while. They have to
be a little while.
Plant all the poles, right? There's going to be so many poles they're going to plant because apparently there's smaller poles. They're not so tall, but they have to plant more of them.
Yeah,
so
because 5G can't go through walls, can't go around corners, so they have to blanket everything in 5G. But Wi-Fi 6E, as people's routers die and they start buying new routers, eventually that'll catch up. But people might go to 6 first, and 6 still has latency issues, where 6E is way faster on latency. So we're going to get there, but it's going to take time. So
So ViveCon is May 11th and 12th.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Oculus has a gaming showcase on April 21st.
Yep.
Right.
So on April 21st, anything that Oculus software-wise, games at least, has been like waiting to unveil, I think is going to drop here. This is probably where we're going to hear that Lone Echo 2 is going to the Quest, which is like a lot of speculation right now. David Duggan just made a video saying that he came across some post that like highly alludes to Lone Echo 2 being a Quest 2 title. So I feel
it will be.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're holding their cards for this April 21st date so they can talk about games and shit that are coming out. I personally, I feel like Oculus might let Vive have these 2 days. I don't see Oculus coming out with an announcement of hardware or accessory that's game changing during those 2 days, just simply because it's so close to this gaming showcase date.
Yeah. So far, it's only software stuff they've been releasing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, next year, I do think next year holiday times we will probably that's when we'll probably see the Quest.
Well, next year there'll be Apple, right? So that's gonna throw a little joker in the mix.
Yeah, but Apple's going to be very expensive, extremely high end, and won't be in the same ballpark.
It's one of the headsets for under $1,000 US. So I don't know.
Yeah, but they also said they're not expecting this first headset to sell very well. This is kind of their test bed. They're gonna,
that was a first statement. But knowing Apple, they don't go halfway.
No, I know they go all the way, but they also don't consider price typically. Your typical Apple purchaser of a computer is going to spend more on less hardware because of the ecosystem it's in, because of the quality of the Apple stuff, because it's all very, very high end. And Apple's going to come out with 8K per eye. Like, how do you keep that under $1,000, right?
I doubt that's the one that's going to be $1,000. I think that there might be, I don't know, maybe there'll be 2, who knows really. But I think what's interesting is the Nreal augmented reality glasses. They partner with, I think, telecoms. So they come, you'll be able to buy a phone and then you have your headset, your glasses with the phone or something. So who knows, maybe VR in the future, you won't buy it anymore on its own. Maybe you'll buy it with your phone or something like that. Maybe price points.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like one of the big problems with phone stuff is the battery. Right.
Yeah.
And plus, you bog your phone down with apps and you get crappy performance in the headset.
Sorry. I mean, maybe when in the future when you buy a phone plan.
Oh, I see.
And it will comes with a phone plan. Maybe you'll move that direction.
I can see that. Yeah, I could see HTC doing that. I could see them putting out a mobile headset because they were phone manufacturers for a long time. I still think they have a phone division.
Dude,
I'm not sure. But...
I'm optimistic, man. A month from now, I think we'll see everything. We'll know a month from today or a couple days ago what HTC has been working on, and I'm really optimistic. I don't know for sure, right? Like the Cosmos was a huge failure, all that shit, but like I'm hoping that HTC can step up and earn a place at the table.
Do you think HTC is now scared at all because Oculus put out version 28 of the software where you got 120 hertz refresh rate, you got built-in PC streaming, you have the start of what looks like a really cool Infinite Office experience with tracked keyboards. I mean, granted there's only one tracked keyboard at the moment, but they're bringing a lot to the table.
They were shaking in their boots before that.
Yeah,
they're freaking out. They're praying that this thing works, and they're leaning on consumer perspective to help push them over the lines, even if it is enterprise focused.
I mean, if you look at the one, sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, that we already said that, man. You're swimming in the waters just fine. Which actually, we have to wrap this up soon. So I would love to hear from you.
I just talking about the 120 hertz. So I think what people need to understand is it's great that the hardware has the technology to enable, developers to be able to do that, to push the development software to that. But at the end of the day, it's going to take time for people to develop and retweak their code and everything to be at that level. So, it could take 6 months or more. I don't think this is a Quest 2. I don't think it's a short-term play. I think it's a long-term play. I think this is an Oculus Quest 3 thing. So I think we'll see by the time the Oculus Quest 3 comes out that then you'll have many more games that will, be able to handle 120 hertz.
Sure.
I mean, that's just my opinion. I
agree. I mean, it's a big deal, right? You're putting that many more frames out. You need more battery life. You need more performance. It's just gonna be tough. And we've only seen 2 games that have confirmed it so far. One is Cubism, which has very little or almost no graphics.
Who fucking cares?
Exactly.
But it is a good game. It is a good game.
Great game, but it's not as demanding as Half-Life Alyx, for example.
Right, exactly. And then you got Racket Fury. Right. These are the only 2 games that have said, "Yep, we're doing it." So we'll see. It's tough. It's tough to hit 120 frames without destroying the battery.
If you look at the list of games who actually support 90 hertz, there's not that many. Is tiny amount. So, it just goes to show. I don't think that's going to be super important in the short term. But if HTC are releasing an HTC standalone this year, right? So in May they're going to reveal it, right? So they'll sell it when? September, let's say. Then that means they're going to review another standalone maybe when? Next May, 2022?
Right.
In 2022. So I think that's when things will start to really heat up, very interestingly.
Yeah, this whole mobile market thing has been a complete reset of the PC market. I mean, the VR market completely, right? Because we were on our way with PC VR, but it wasn't selling because people needed, powerful computers along with the headset and all this stuff. But now we have reset onto mobile chips. We're kind of working our way back up that ladder. The only thing that kind of concerned me is that HTC kept failing with the Cosmos, and they probably spent more money than they've made. Do you know what I mean? And I'm wondering if they're going to be able to hang on for that long.
Well, I'll tell you what. This whole 120 hertz shit, to me, this is kind of the same thing with the Airlink that I was talking about, where Oculus just wants to answer yes to every fucking question you answer them. And when you put that shit on paper next to anything else, it says 120 hertz right there on the fucking graph, and that is so powerful.
Yeah, person was saying that in our Discord server, that they are literally trying to check boxes on paper to say, the Index says 120 hertz, so does the Quest, and this, even though they are not the same experience.
That is 100% what the point I am trying to make. And with that, I'm gonna end this because we could we could do this forever. We could do this forever. We really could. It's way too much fun. So Lazius Kaye, thank you so much for staying up so fucking late and joining us on this show.
Thank you very much for having me on the show. Really, really appreciate it. Had good fun.
You are awesome, man.
Everybody in the chat as well. Hello, everyone there. And thank you very much. So.
If you guys don't know VR Essentials, go to his channel, click subscribe, and start watching these videos, and his skills will blow your mind. One of the best video editors I have ever met.
He's super good. Hello, bonjour, comment ça va? Let's fucking go. Boom, VR Essentials. You are the man. Thanks again for joining us. Say goodbye to Lazius.
Bye, Lazius.
Bye.
Bye. And with that, he is gone. Goodbye, Lazius, and good riddance. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us here in the chat today. Rendered Reality, one of our favorite podcasts ever. Sean, thanks for being here, dude. Libnox, Chris, Person, Mepper, Bowenaudy, Smash
Bomb.
Reality, Atom Bomb Body, Libnox, Licks Nix, Vivian Chazen I saw slipped in right there at the end, who was also
legends.
a guest on our show.
So many legends,
dude. I mean, it's hard to know whose name I've already said. Mepper, Aaron Summers, Morp Central, like all you guys. Thank you so fucking much for being here. It means the world to us, and we love you all dearly. What's happening next week?
Next week, we have Stu TV on the show. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Stu?
Stu TTV.
TTV. Oh,
that's right. So Stu is a virtual reality streamer on Twitch. This is a guy who I actually met smoking out in front of the V Respawn party at Oculus Connect 6, where we're just out there hanging out, and I'm like, hey, what's up, dude? And I pass it over to him, and we're just bullshitting, and he's like, yeah, I live in Arizona. I was like, whoa, guess who else does? So do I, and we ended up talking a little bit more, and he worked at a VR arcade here in Arizona called VR Junkies, where I went and recorded my very first ever mixed reality footage. Ooh. So we kind of had this bonding experience outside, and he's also a world champion from Space Junkies. He's a Space Junkies world champ. So this guy,
I know he's nasty in Pop 1.
He's a nasty gamer, a hilarious dude, a great personality, and I'm really excited to have him join us next week.
Cool.
So, and I'm sure we will be seeing all of your beautiful names and faces here with us again next week. Thank you so much for joining us. Steve and I are going to play some Carly and the Reaper Man, maybe, right? You got anything going on? Are we hanging out right now?
I got to pick up my daughter.
Oh, shit. All right, well, we're not doing that, I guess. All right, everybody. See you next week.
Bye, guys. See ya.